Welcome back to another episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be making some pork shoulder medallions. We're going to be cooking these on the Kamado Big Joe. So I was looking around in my meat market where I get all of my meat, and I saw these pork medallions sitting on the shelf. They're on sale. So I grabbed a pack of them, and when I got home I was like, what am I going to do with these pork shoulder medallions? And so what I came up with is what you're going to see here. It turned out fantastic, and so I'm going to make them again for you, and we're going to get started first with a brine. So if you look down here, here's what your medallions look like. Again, these come in a package about like this. It looks like a almost like a pork loin, but and it looks like one piece of meat, but once you open it up, this is what you get. All these kind of packed in together, these medallions. And what I like to do with these is also make an Alabama white sauce to go over the top. Well, it's my version of an Alabama white sauce. So if you've never seen an Alabama white sauce, never tasted the one, you got to stick around for that, because this sauce is absolutely amazing. Obviously it goes good with this pork, but it goes good with just about everything. It's a mayonnaise based sauce. So I'm going to show you how to make that as well once we get this in the brine and get it sitting away here for a few hours. So now the brine we're going to use down here is Cosmos Q soak and brine. Now this one's a pork soak. They have chicken soaks, but you can use the chicken for the pork for the chicken. I've done both, and they're all fabulous. So so that's the brine we're going to use there. And this here calls for 64 ounces of water to 3/4 of a cup of the actual brine mix, but we don't have that much pork, so we're going to cut it in half. So there's 12 tablespoons in 3/4 of a cup, so we're going to use 6 tablespoons of the brine mix and 32 ounces of water, which I've already got in the briner bucket. In this briner bucket here, I've showed you this before. If you don't have one of these, they're fantastic. It's got a locking plate mechanism in there. You push the plate down, turn it, locks it in place, and it keeps the meat from floating to the top. So these are great buckets. They have this size, and they've got a bigger size as well. So so they're absolutely fabulous. I'll put a link to this in the description so that you can check these briner buckets out. Also, another thing I do too, as you probably noticed if you watch any of my other videos, I do use a lot of foil to line my cookie sheets and that type of thing. Really the reason why I do that is because since I'm outside here, I don't have a sink to wash things off. So when I use this foil, I can just fold it up when I'm done, throw it in the garbage, put another line of foil down there. I don't have to keep going inside and washing cookie sheets and dishes and that type of thing. So if you're wondering why I use so much foil, that's the reason why. So let's go ahead and get started making this brine, putting it together. It's pretty simple. And here's the briner bucket. As you can see here, here's the plate. So if you can look in here too, you see these little notches. Hopefully you can see that. They go down, and this plate goes in like this, and then when you get down to the level you want, turn it, locks it into place. Awesome. It really makes things a lot easier. You don't have to put bricks on top of your food, or whatever else you use to weigh things down, a big bowl, that type of thing. But if you don't have a briner bucket, that's the way you can do it. Just get a regular bucket. Just make sure you weight down whatever you're putting in there so it doesn't float to the top. So first, we're going to mix our 6 tablespoons of Cosmos Q pork soak. I'll pour that in the water there, which is 32 ounces of water. Mix that around, make sure it's all incorporated with that water. Perfect. And we're going to put our pork in there. Now we're going to want to soak this for, 4 to 8 hours. We're going to probably soak this for about 5 hours or so. And while this is soaking in the refrigerator, we're going to go ahead and make that Alabama white sauce too. So let me get this all pushed down like so. Put the lid on. Good. Okay, so we've got the pork shoulder cutlet pieces inside, or the medallions actually, inside the brine. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, let them go ahead and soak for about 5 hours or so. And once those are done, I'll show you how what we're gonna put on them, and then we're gonna put them on that smoker and cook them up on the Kamado Big Joe. but I'll be right back with you so we can make that Alabama white sauce. Hello, welcome back, and now we're going to put together our Alabama white sauce. Now, this is my version of an Alabama white sauce, so it's not, there's a lot of different types of Alabama white sauce recipes out there, but this is my version. This is the way we like it in my house. So we'll call it a Northwest Alabama white sauce. Northwest Backyard Barbecue. It fits. That's what we'll do. So here we go, and here's the ingredients that we have for this white sauce. Now, down here it's mayonnaise, so all Alabama white sauce. One thing that is consistent is it's going to be a mayonnaise-based sauce. So we've got our fat there, and that's going to be about a cup of mayonnaise. And then we've got some vinegar here. This is apple cider vinegar. That's going to be about 6 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So we've got our acid right there. And then we've also got, I put in ketchup. Now this is going to be this right here, which is a Chipotle ketchup, Big Rick's Chipotle ketchup. This is great stuff. You should give it a try. I'll put a link to this in the description, but it's a Chipotle flavored ketchup. It's excellent. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of that. So then we got our sweet. And that's the nice thing about this. It's got your fat, you got your you got your acid, and you got your sweet. It's all kind of combined in there. It's absolutely fantastic. And then we've also got some horseradish here. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of grated root horseradish. That's a really hot version of the horseradish. There's milder and hot. This is hot. And then we've got a couple teaspoons of Louisiana style hot sauce. So that's going to be more of a vinegar base. And then we've also going to put in some salt and some pepper. And then you can use cayenne pepper as well to spice it up a little bit, but I'm going to use this, which is a basically ghost pepper powder. It's basically volcano powder. I mean, this is extremely hot. I use this to spice up just about anything I want to make hot. If I don't want to use cayenne and I really want to get some heat in there, this is what I use. Now I got to be easy on it because my family does like hot, but not nearly as hot as I do, and you can really go crazy with this pretty quick. So I got to be very careful. I might spice my own personal portion up a little bit more, but we will put a little bit into this as well. So let's go ahead and start getting this all mixed together. So we're going to add in our apple cider vinegar. We're going to get our Chipotle ketchup. We're going to do our horseradish. And we're going to put our hot sauce in there. Mix this up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and salt and pepper it after we taste it. See how it tastes. Now, a lot of people also put mustard in here, and you can put mustard in there too if you want. Like I said, there's a lot of different versions. And once we get all this seasoned up with the salt and the pepper and the hot ghost pepper powder, then we're going to want it to sit in the refrigerator for a while to let all the flavors kind of meld together. And a lot of people too will put this in a blender to kind of mix it up, get all the chunks of mayonnaise and everything out of there. But you know, I really didn't want to dirty a blender out here in the backyard, so I'm just doing it this way. And all right, good. I think that's good enough to figure out how much salt and pepper we need. Let's give that a taste. Yeah, definitely does need some salt. And this is again Oregon Coast sea salt, Jacobson's sea salt, black pepper. Give that a mix before we put in that spicy pepper powder, just to make sure we got the salt and pepper right. And again, we're going to dip our pork in this, so I mean, it's going to be fabulous. Ooh, that's good. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit of this in there, and again, got to be careful. Doesn't take much. Right there is probably plenty for my family. Like I said, I'll put more in my own personal portion. Just want a little bit of a kick for them. And also to do this too, probably be best to use a whisk, which I'll probably do off camera, but I kind of wanted to show you how to put it all together first. Let me give that a taste. Perfect. Just the right amount of kick. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up a little bit more with a whisk, really get it nice and smooth, and put it in the refrigerator while our pork is marinating. This will be basically marinating as well, getting all those flavors blended together by sitting in the refrigerator. Like I said before, you always want a sauce to sit for at least a few hours, preferably overnight, but this one will sit for probably 4 or 5 hours while that pork is marinating, and it'll be awesome. So it's awesome now, but it's going to be even better when those flavors meld together. So I'll bring you back when we pull the pork out and get it all seasoned up and get it on the Kamado. Be back with you. Okay, we're back, and it's been about 5 hours. We have pulled the pork out of the refrigerator, and now we're ready to take it out of the brine and put it in this pan down here, and then we're going to go ahead and put our seasoning on there and get it on the smoker. So let's go ahead and pull out these pork pieces out of the brine. All right. So again, you can marinate this for longer if you want, but again, we put it in there for about 5 hours. Oh yeah, they're gonna be nice and flavorful, tender, so we're gonna put them in this pan so we can season them up. And how we're gonna season them today is we've got a little bit of rub left from a cook that I did earlier in the week, or maybe about a week ago, which was maple smoked pork spare ribs. The recipe is on the channel. You can go ahead and take a look at that, and it tells you what the mixture is. But basically what's in there is 5 tablespoons of Cosmos Q Dirty Bird Hot, 5 tablespoons of Cimarron Docks rub, and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup powder. So we're going to go ahead and use the rest of that rub on these. Since it is pork, maple syrup goes good with pork. All right, perfect. Okay, so now let me get this out of the way here. Put the lid back on. Move that out of the way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put some mustard in here as a binder. Just like so. Kind of mix that around a little bit. Get all that mustard on there. Perfect, that's plenty. And mustard doesn't really impart much flavor. I mean, it's a vinegar base, but if you think that your meat's going to taste like mustard, it's not. This is what a lot of competition cooks use for their barbecue as a binder. And we're going to go ahead and now put on our rub. And we want to make sure we get it all on all sides of that meat. That's kind of why we're doing it in here, so we can kind of mix it all around. You can be fairly generous with it. These are pretty thick cuts of meat here. We're going to get a nice bark going on these in the smoker, and now we're going to cook these to probably between 160 and 170, which should make them just nice and tender enough, still juicy, and they'll be excellent. All right, so you can see here the idea. Got all that rub on there, and that's just about enough. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move everything over to the Kamado so you can watch me put these on, and be right back with you. Okay, we're back here at the Kamado Big Joe. I've went ahead and taken the pork shoulder medallions and transferred them to a sprayed wire rack. I sprayed the wire rack with some cooking spray just to prevent some sticking. Go ahead and show you what that looks like down here. So there you go there. Like I said, I just put them on. And I also added a couple pieces of apple wood in there, as well as I do have both the deflector plates in there as well, so we have indirect cooking going on. I'm going to go ahead and let this roll at 250 degrees. I'm going to check it here in about 30 to 40 minutes. Again, we're trying to get that pork up to about 160 to 170. So once that's done, I will bring you back and we'll put all this together. See you in a bit. Okay, we're back. We pulled these off the Kamado. Now I did check them throughout the cook, and what I found out was there's not quite as much fat in these as I thought there was. The other ones that I cooked were dripping fat quite a bit, so I could tell there was a lot of fat content. This one is cooked more like a pork tenderloin. So I changed our cook time by looking at what was going on and decided to go ahead and get them to about 145 to 150. So, you know, if you overcook like a pork loin to 160, 170, it's going to really dry out. So, so again, I mean, we're really cooking here, and the good news is you get that live. I'm not spicing things together, telling you the wrong temperatures and the wrong times and that type of thing. So I want to make sure that if you make this, you make it the right way as well. So just keep in mind, if it has a heavy fat content, when it's a pork shoulder, you know, you're going to want to probably cook it a little bit longer to have that fat rendered down. But if it's lean, you obviously don't want to cook it as long. So we cooked this for about 50 minutes. It took us to get it to that 145 range. And we're going to go ahead and slice into these and see how they look and see how they taste. So we're going to do that right now. So here's what we have. Got our Alabama white sauce here that I went ahead and put into a little container. We're gonna put some of that on there like so, and you can dip these in this sauce as well if you want, and that's how they, you can just dip and dunk it in there, or you can spray it or put it on the side. Let's give it a cut and let's see how it looks. So first of all, make sure you can see that there. That's what we're working with there. They look pretty good. And let's see how they turned out. Oh yeah, it's cutting like butter. Look at that. Look at the juice coming out of those. That is good right there. Perfect. That's what we want. So you can cook pork as long as you're at about 145. That's what you want. That's where we're at here. Let's give this a try. Here we go. Whoa. That's fabulous. Unbelievable. That Alabama white sauce is just phenomenal. And if you don't, you know, there is definitely a horseradish taste in this. I did put 3 tablespoons of horseradish to that 1 cup of mayonnaise. If you don't like horseradish, you can leave it out. But generally, an Alabama white sauce does have it in there. So you can definitely taste the horseradish in there, which I personally like and my family likes. So this turned out absolutely awesome. And again, I'm very glad that we checked it and decided to lower that takeoff time and temperature to that 145 range. 160 to 170, these would have been overdone. Some people like them like that, and if you like it like that, that's fine. But this is where we like it, so it's still nice and juicy and tender, a lot of flavor. And these are awesome, absolutely awesome. And you know, you could put barbecue sauce on these too if you don't want to use the Alabama white sauce. A lot of different things you can do. But give these a try. Make sure you're, you know, keeping an eye on them when you cook them. Give them a try. They're absolutely awesome. And I really appreciate you stopping by Northwest Backyard Barbecue. And I look forward to seeing you next time on our next episode. Thank you.